Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Whom It May Concern Hood Professionals, where we talk it out to work it out. I am your host, AP, and I have to say, this month has definitely flown by so quickly. I don't know, for those of you who may know, February is one of my most favorite months, besides the fact that it is Black History Month and also a month associated with love. It's also the birth month of yours truly. Yay, my birthday was on 2/22/2022 on a Tuesday. Yes, period. And I had a wonderful time. I had a wonderful day. I've had a wonderful week. I've actually had a wonderful month. And also for me, February is truly my new year. For whatever reason, I feel like February just ushers in this new type of energy, this new type of spirit. And it's with that, I guess I've just been so caught up in just living in the moment and really taking time to be grateful. I know that on the first podcast, I had spoken to you all about really being intentional with how I'm showing up and who I am, not only in my personal life, but most definitely in my professional life. And this podcast has snuck up on me, truly, because I've been having too much fun. All the fun, all the things. Things happening, transition is taking place, change is happening. And for once in my life, I am not fighting against the current. I am lying on my back, casually sipping Prosecco and letting the waves carry me to and fro wherever it would have me to go, honey. I am easy like a Sunday morning, okay? Because one thing that I have found is that we waste so much energy when we fight against the current. When we're fighting against the current, we're tiring ourselves out, literally, so that the journey becomes more mundane and taxing on us mentally, spiritually, and emotionally, and physically, than if we were to at times accept what's happening, because a lot of times it's not necessarily happening to us, it's happening for us. Things are changing, things are taking a turn. There's a shift that is occurring, because otherwise we wouldn't be able to get to where we need to get to if we didn't become more uncomfortable, experience discomfort, a little bit of pain, a little bit of, I don't know the word I want to say, but you know what I'm saying. Anything that's associated with this theme that I'm going with, work with me. You know what it is. You've been here long enough. This is season 3. My God, you know what it is. And so with that being said, like I said, I'm really learning to just go with the flow. I've had a couple of, don't want to talk about it, but I've had a couple of setbacks, and I'm just like, all right, God, if it's your will, this is what it is. And that just means it's going to be that much sweeter. It's going to be that much better once you open the door and and it is final, and it's a complete and utter yes. That is really the mindset that I'm trying to take myself into. Definitely a season of moving beyond believing things are going to happen and knowing that they will, because look at our life. We've all been through things, and thank God we've been able to make it out on top. And for those of us who are just determined and who believe in our resiliency, you can attest to the fact that hard times come, but they come to make us wiser and better and stronger. And I'm thankful for that. And it's with that sentiment that I go into this particular podcast. And it's not going to be a long podcast. This may be the shortest podcast episode that we have. And I don't want you to get used to this. Don't get used to this. So in the spirit of Black History Month, and in the spirit of me always wanting to support Black businesses and Black entrepreneurs and just community and persons who support marginalized persons and groups, I came across one of the profiles that I follow on Instagram is Q Time Restaurant in Atlanta, Georgia. They have a couple of locations, but the location I am most familiar with is in downtown East Point, Georgia. Right outside of East Point train station, right outside of Oakland City, down off of Lee Street. I'm giving y'all the whole rundown. I love my city. I love Atlanta. Let's just be clear, as they like to say on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's be clear. Your girl loves Atlanta. It's home. It's home. I don't necessarily have a place where I can be like, this is home, because I've moved around my whole entire life from childbirth up until now. Like, it's rare that I've been in one place for longer than 4 years, and Atlanta has been that place for me that I've lived the longest. And for me, Atlanta will and forever be home. But anyway, back to Q Time. And so over the weekend, I read where the founding owner and operator had passed away. And I just want to give you a little background on him while I segue into the thought for this particular podcast episode. Christopher Lawrence Crenshaw. He's a graduate of FAMU University. After graduating from FAMU, he pursued a career as a teacher in Pensacola, Florida. And then he left that field to pursue the insurance field. And shortly after, he moved his family to Atlanta, where he became one of the first Black independent insurance agents for State Farm. In that, for about 30 years. So in that span of time, he also accumulated several other businesses, including Q Time Restaurant. And when I was reading over this on the post, I was like, wow, he had time to explore all these different careers. He went to FAMU, he was a teacher, he went to the insurance field, and even though he had become successful in the insurance field, he still took it upon himself to branch out more and extend the talents, the gift and his resources, and open several other businesses, including a restaurant that had multiple locations. And it made me think about sometimes how judgmental and hypocritical I have been of those when you see someone and we feel like they're jumping from pillar to post when it comes to 1 minute they were doing this, and the next minute now they doing that, and then the next minute now they doing this, and now doing something else. And it made me think to myself, like, wow, how can I praise Mr. Crenshaw for his efforts in expanding himself beyond insurance? And then when I see someone that I know trying their hand at multiple things, I equate that to instability. And I really have to check myself. Let me tell you something. I check myself a lot. I have no problem checking myself. And then I also look at myself. I was like, well, Audrey, you're not in the same place that you always were. You when it comes to this media field, you had your hands in a multitude of different things. You've had a radio show. You've worked with the talent showcase / political organization. You doing the podcast. You have Hey Girl Hey, the blog. Now you have a blog podcast for To Whom It May Concern. You have multiple social media. You've written for other people's social media, and you're now going to do some other things. I cannot wait to put y'all on too, but this isn't that time for that. And it just really made me think about how it's important that we expand. It's important that we stretch ourselves. It's important that we extend our talents and our gifts, because we never know where that blessing is going to come from. And a lot of times a blessing isn't always a monetary thing. A lot of times it could be the connections that we make, the tribes that we find, the wisdom that we gain, the resources that we uncover. And at times it's not even resources for ourselves, but for those around us that we can connect them to. And then we now can be seen as a source for knowledge, as a source for wisdom, as a source of, this is somebody who knows what they're talking about. This is somebody who can uncover those things that other people may not necessarily have the energy or the fortitude or the insight to do so. And it made me realize how important it is for us to explore every single avenue that we could possibly explore until we have exhausted our talents. I truly believe that's what we're here for. We're here to exhaust our talent. And I'm not saying exhaust yourself out in a way where you are drained. What I'm saying is that you can truly say every creative thing that is within you, you have explored that thing. And not necessarily to gain profit, but at times, whatever is planted in you has to harvest, right? It has to manifest. It has to come into fruition. And a lot of times, the only way that is going to happen is if we actively do something to allow that to manifest. And so Mr. Crenshaw's this brief write-up that they did on Instagram, it really inspired me to push myself beyond the limits that I set for myself. To really say, okay, yes, I have that 9 to 5, but beyond that, I am someone else. And if we're being honest, a lot of us are afforded a 9 to 5 where we don't have to just do 9 to 5 things on our 9 to 5. Now, those of you who are very strict, you're in a very strict workplace environment, I understand, I've been there. But for those of you who have the ability to be flexible, really utilize your time to explore those other gifts, those other talents that you have. Again, it's not always for profit. I mean, profit is nice. It is nice, but think of profit in other ways besides money, besides finances. We can profit in the sheer joy of we accomplished something, that we attempted something and it came out better than what we expected. Whether it's DIY, whether it's writing a poem or a book. Shout out to my homegirl, LaTronda Davis. If you get a chance to go on Amazon, she wrote a book about the steps that it takes to become a public health nurse. I will be sure to put that in. I don't have the name off the top of my head, but I'll be sure to put that into the description so you all can see that. And I also have it posted up on my social media on Instagram at TWIMC_hood professionals. And I do believe I shared that to the thing. If not, I will definitely put that on there when I promote this particular episode. But whether it's writing a book or writing a poem or volunteering or writing a play or making something, clothing, a doll, soap, hair care products, nails. My homegirl Marisha Dene, she created her own press-on nails that you can order from her at Emery Denim. Make sure you look her up on Instagram as well. Honey, I know people for days who are doing things, and Marisha's also an accomplished singer-songwriter. So that's what I'm saying, like, we have these talents, we have these gifts, we have to explore them. That's what life is about, really fully living out loud. Living out loud, expressing ourselves, being who we are created to be to our full potential. I'm talking about rock out. Rock out. Give as much as you can. Not at the expense of your health, not at the expense of your well-being, but give from a place of growth. Give from a place of love. Give from a place of you just got to. Give from a place of you just got to. And I promise you, your gifts will make room for you. So a lot of us may be stuck. We may be in these places because we're not releasing what's inside to allow the growth, to allow space, to allow room. You know what I mean? Some of us are holding so tightly to positions and things of where we are that we're holding on so tight that where is God gonna put the blessing at? Where he gonna tuck it in at? You holding so tight to something that you've outgrown, that you're so beyond, but you can't see it because you feel like, well, where I've come from and I've gotten to this, I can stop. No, you can't. There's more. I promise you there's more. So this month of March, I am encouraging each of us to push beyond where we are and those talents and those gifts that we have. I'm encouraging each of us to explore them, to create, to show up, to be present, to be consistent, and to be expressive. Once again, you can follow us on Instagram at TWIMC_Hood Professionals, and also follow us over on the blog. We're at to whom it may concern hoodpros.wordpress.com. And I post there every Wednesday. Every Wednesday I post on that particular website. And then with the Instagram, I really just use that to promote the podcast. So definitely make sure that you give us a follow, a like, a comment, a share, however you want to do that. And again, I hope that you all are having a prosperous 2022. I hope that you're laughing more. I hope that you're loving more. I hope that you're more considerate, you're more caring, you're more thoughtful, you're more present, you're more aware, and you're just living. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode. I told you all this was going to be a quick episode. When have you ever? Okay? And we probably will never. Okay? Okay. Also, I'm going to have some things out. I'm going to put up some polls, I think. But I got to figure out how to put up some polls. And this phone I have is very basic. So I feel like it'd be giving me the bare minimum of what I can do. My God. But that's okay. We're going to work it out. Because that's what we do. We work things out. So in the meantime, I'm your girl, AP. Thank you for rocking with me. I appreciate you. I don't take it lightly that you tune in. I don't take it lightly that you share. I don't take it lightly that you stay until the end or even press and just go on about your way. Either way, I thank you. Love you for it. And I mean it. Until next time, take care. Peace.